my name is Bruce Lieberman. I'm a professor in the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology and the curator of Invertebrate Paleontology and the director of the Paleontological Institute in the Biodiversity Institute. So the treatise on invertebrate paleontology, basically it's an encyclopedia on different aspects of really the most diverse and abundant things we find in the fossil record. So it's kind of this comprehensive picture and take on ancient life. Obviously there's been tremendous changes in the way that scientists share and acquire knowledge, and also the way that libraries work and that encyclopedias too. So in thinking more and more about the treatise on invertebrate paleontology and trying to make sure that it could get to the right audience and the most diverse and broadest possible audience where we could reach the greatest number of people and have the most impact, for me it was kind of, hey look, we've got to get this knowledge out there. The treatise on invertebrate paleontology played a fundamental role in the development of the field and assembling and sharing technical knowledge, but now having something inside of a book that's only available for purchase, the nature of scientific publishing has changed so much that I realized in order for us to stay relevant and useful to scientists and also folks interested in paleontology throughout the world, we had to make this transition to open access, and we had to do it as soon as possible. And KU Libraries has just been so helpful with that, and some of the framework to be able to make that possible had been set up by previous directors. So ultimately, I mean, it did take some time and some work, but it was like a really good opportunity. I've always been a big proponent of open access and sharing knowledge to try and to reach the broadest possible audience we can. To work with Marianne again has just been, it's really been a privilege, and it's also a pleasure because she's just been so easy to work with and she knows so many of the parameters. So it kind of made my task so much easier to have this partner in the libraries, and it's so nice to see, well, with the work that Marianne has done, but also the KU Libraries, how far ahead on the curve you folks are thinking about these big issues. The nature of publishing has changed, scientific publishing, and I think the nature of the libraries and what they represent has really changed too. And it seems to me that folks like Marianne and also KU Libraries have really embraced that and made it about helping the scientists and folks in humanities, of course, too. I know it best because I'm in the sciences, but to share that knowledge, to get it out there, to benefit the field, and also to benefit the KU faculty. So it's a really tremendous resource, and I think it's something that a lot of professors here at KU would be really interested in doing, and they might not know about it or what's involved, but I would really encourage all of the KU faculty who have any interest in this area or can think about ways to share knowledge or thinking about sharing knowledge in their discipline or trying to get a broader scope or get their content out to more people, working with the folks at the KU Libraries. And again, my experience with them, especially Marianne, has been phenomenal and amazing. So I would really encourage any KU faculty to think about things they can do or try to do things that they want to do but they didn't know they could. KU paleontology has always been strong, and it's got a long tradition. It's partly due to this long-standing tradition of having great paleontologists. The first paleontologist who described the Tyrannosaurus rex, Barnum Brown, he was an alum of the University of Kansas. Carl Dunbar, who was in the National Academy of Sciences, involved with the Manhattan Project, he was also a paleontologist, and he was connected to the University of Kansas. R.C. Moore, who founded the Treatise on Invertebrate Paleontology, in his day was probably the most famous paleontologist in the world. Partly is because there's some great and really famous deposits here in the state of Kansas. If you go to any natural history museum throughout the world and you see a mosasaur, it's almost guaranteed that it's going to be from Kansas if you look at the label. It's one of our great exports, our fossil marine reptiles. Also, there's this real tradition in Kansas of being connected to the land. It's an agricultural state. We started out with many farmers, and they would find things in the fields or nearby, near their pastures. And so I think there's also this connection to and interest in the land and understanding it and knowing more about it. And it partly is that we have a natural history museum here too, so fossils in our natural history museum collection, for the collection that I supervise or oversee as a curator, invertebrate paleontology, things that are described back into the 1880s. So in understanding some of the changes that are happening today, really to have that prior context, that history from the fossil record, to understand past episodes of change and what happened, really that gives us a good way for trying to plan for the future and maybe best prepare for it. We feel that an important part of our area of work is obviously expanding knowledge and making new discoveries, but also we want to share that with the public. And again, these compendia that we produced and encyclopedias and sets of images and other types of information, that will make it easier for scientists to conduct analyses, but will also make it easier for the public to better understand what they might find in their backyard or when they're on a trip or something like that.